4 months have passed since our last encounter with the horrific animatronics that traumatized us over and over again. We have arrived home late at night at our new residence after an exhausting Sucker Cup. Unfortunately for us, this new town cannot save us from the PTSD of what we've gone through in the past. As our day seems to fade into the darkness of our new bedroom, the clock chimes the arrival of midnight. Here we go again. Another nightmare with the robots of another man's dreams. Minor flashing lights and jump scare warning. That's right, we're all old. A decade in review, Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course good night, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another video. I'm your host, The Gamer Minecraft, and today we celebrate a decade in review for Five Nights at Freddy's 4. I never finished this game until a week before scripting this video. But even before that, I had heard of and interacted with this game since as long as my introduction into the FNAF community. The simple yet horrific nature of this 10-year-old masterpiece is an example of the working smarter, not harder, with less instead of more. This video is also an example of that, because I'm going to have to rush this in order to complete it, Rocket League, and do that before we go to the Dave shows every year, which at the time of this being uploaded, I'm in the second show of, and I'm not going to be at home, so this needs to be done. Gamer's Little Playground will be in the description, as he is the footage I used. Again, I'm so sorry, I just cannot record it. Since we must go on with the actual content, let's begin with FNAF 4 is a much simpler game than the previous trilogy. The cameras from every installment have been removed while reinstating the lights and doors from the first game. It's the inverse of FNAF 3. There are 4 places you can flash your flashlight in this bedroom. The normal 2 doors are to the left and right and are the same as always, but there's also a closet door in front of you and a bed behind you. The bed is the only thing you cannot close, however, it contains the second most annoying little gremlin creatures in the franchise. Oh, and this game relies on sound cues. If you hear breathing at the side doors, close them. If you don't, flash the hall. Great time to say that the breathing is so hard to hear. So turn up your volume. Do it and be jump scared, or hear nothing and get whiplash. Pick your poison, Chicken Ninja 42. Fuck, there's a lot. FNAF 4 has the classic new renditions of the old characters and gave the FNAF 2 treatment to a couple demons that came straight out of someone's sleep paralysis. Nightmare Bonnie comes down the left hallway and Nightmare Chica comes down the right as always, but you don't know where they are without your flashlight. They act the same as FNAF 1, nothing changes here. Nightmare Foxy and Freddy are where things get interesting. Foxy can go down either hallway, but he doesn't go to the doors. No. You see, there are 3 possible hallway positions for an animatronic to be in. The furthest one from the doors is the spawn area for all animatronics. The middle one is where you can deter them with your flashlight, and the door is where you close the door. The middle position is where Foxy will wait every night after night 1. If you flash him, he sees that you're a child and goes away. But if you go to the wrong door and he's in the middle position of the other door, he's in your room now, you little shit. The closet door moves a tad when he gets in there, and now a Foxy plush, or him, will be there and you have to monitor his 4 stages. One is where he's standing up, one is where he's crouched, one is where he's trying to bite you, and one is where you're fucking dead. Close the door to revert his stage and flash to check on him. That's Nightmare Foxy. Freddy's a bitch. He doesn't even go after you. He sends his fucking toddlers to wait on your bed and screech like they haven't eaten in 3 days, because they probably haven't. Turn around and flash them and they run away. Told you they were gremlins. Bright light! Bright light! But don't, and eventually Nightmare Freddy will kill you. But wait, there's more, because in Night 5, there arrives Nightmare Fredbear, who is the medley of all the animatronics plus the main character of Cocaine Bear. He can go down every hallway, has the middle position mechanic of Foxy, and laughs when he's in your room. He can be on the bed or in the closet, and he can leave whenever he wants. And he's there for the whole night. Oh, but it gets worse. But wait, there's more. Because if you go into Night 6 and get to 4 AM, you encounter him if he sold out Walter White. Welcome Nightmare, the horror story of hell that is Night 6. He is Nightmare Fredbear, but on maximum difficulty. His AI is 20. So if he can move, he will. And he's dark transparent, so he's harder to see. But wait, there's more, because wow, there's also Plush Trap, the little menace that you can go in between nights to visit, and you flash him on the X to skip 2 hours the next night. However, if you fail, you'll never see him again. But wait, there's more, because there's a Halloween update where we get Jacko reskins of Bonnie and Chica and Nightmare Balloon Boy to replace Plush Trap. Finally, it's done. But wait, there's more! Canonically, this is a loopy-ass game, so here's the gist.
Was that the bite of 87?
The unnamed crying child, the youngest of the Afton family, is tormented by his brother and co. while they wear the classic FNAF character masks, which, by the way, haven't been created yet. So I don't know where they got them. Fucking plot holes. Scott Cawthon. Our sobbing salamander was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety because of it, and William Afton, the William Afton before he starts murdering children, brushes it off as sibling rivalry. That is, until he has nightmares. The youngest has schizophrenic episodes about horrific versions of the animatronics, especially Fredbear, killing him and tormenting him just the way Michael did. Editor's note, this also used to be the common theory to explain where FNAF 4 came from, but I disagree. Eventually, shit catches up to Michael, because Karma decided that it's high time he faces punishment. On the crying child's birthday, Michael and his friends basically kidnap him and pick him up and try to give Fredbear a little kiss. And, well...
It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe, you know?
The spring locks of Fredbear failed, and the crying child died in the hospital approximately 3 hours later. It is theorized, however, that we don't play as the crying child in FNAF 4. Many think that William's way of punishing Michael for the death of his son was to force him to undergo the same episodes that the youngest did, using the illusion discs that I'm not explaining. Michael would also be convicted of first-degree murder along with his buddies, but get a reduced sentence because of the mental instability caused by William's torment. The bite that we witnessed earlier was not the bite of 87, but the bite of 83. There is none. Again! I mean, yeah, there is, but this is another FNAF game with another lack of interesting skill ceiling section. Because yes, there is a speedrun leaderboard, obviously, because there's one for almost every game in existence, but who cares? It's the same as always. Just memorize the basic movements and don't die, and dominate Plush Trap every night. Simple as that. What a fitting night for this subsection. FNAF 4 is debatably the scariest FNAF game thus far. The animatronics are withered beyond recognition, there's new horrific bullshit in the mini-games, and the silence is deafening. This game relies on sound cues. Although the game itself reminds me of a Toy Story creepypasta straight out of 2015, very fitting for the year, the sound effects are so quiet, yet you have to hear them. Up the volume, whiplash. Lower the volume, silence. And then more whiplash. Also, the jump scares look like they actually ate me instead of...
I am the monster, rah rah rah.
Another one! Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is quite possibly my favorite of the FNAF games for me design-wise. The Nightmare animatronics, the Halloween update reskins, Nightmare... it's great. However, this was not fun to play. I have to play FNAF games on my Switch, and therefore on silent because I'm my parents and my inability to use my controller on these games forcing me onto handheld mode. However, this is still a great game and a grand example of, once again, less time and less things does not equal lower quality. A grand start to an unneeded trilogy lore-wise. Plot holes. I would give this game a 7 out of 10. However, next time won't be as nice. It's 6 a.m., and we finally get to go on another adventure without the torment of freaking robots. Unfortunate that a single wrong route in the mountain cave could trip us up this much. As we descend to the darkness of a realm unknown to all mortal humans, I would like to ask you, welcome to the underground. How was the fall? Check how much you used your love, because this is Undertale. Thanks for watching.